All right, so I just got this trailing arm bushing out. This is the OEM one. Of course, this is the TDMI one. That's a bearing actually instead of a bushing. So as you can see, this is, as normal. It's a little bit worn out. It is gonna have some play in it. Yeah, not something that I can move by hand, but definitely with the forces of a car, you'll definitely see this move around. Probably a little bit of side-to-side play, and anything typical of a normal rubber bushing. So it's a much more solid construction here. You have like a much thicker base than the steel one. I think this might be aluminum. So that's the difference. So the way you're gonna get it out is to use a ball joint press. You can get this at any automotive store. What I did was I loosened the bolt. Well, the bushing should be here, but I loosened the bolt for that, and I loosened this bolt that retains the cable, and then I also went around and loosened the bolt that holds in the coilover. So once you do that, just be careful, because this side of the beam is gonna drop to the floor, and that's the reason why I actually ended up taking the retainer clip off, so that there's a little bit more give in the brake line. Okay, so one important thing I wanted to note is that there is I guess a prescribed distance that these bearings or the bushings should go into the trailing arms. You can kind of tell this by this area right here. The cool thing though is that TDMI puts this little logo here, and if you actually notice, it almost identically coincides with the area that it should be in. So when you're pressing this in, you want to make sure that this thicker side is on the inside and that this thinner side is on the outside. So essentially, once the logo disappears when you're pressing it through, that should tell you that, hey, it's done, and that's where it should be. So just a tip if you're installing these. All right, and this is the finished product. There's one bearing there. And one bearing there. So what's different about each side is the gas tank is gonna get in your way on this side. So if you see these bolts right here, there's 4 of them that hold that bracket that the bushing actually bolts into. You're gonna have to remove that on the driver's side. You don't necessarily have to do that on this side. And again, the order of operations is to unbolt the spherical bearing, put something underneath the wheel to brace it, and then unbolt this bolt right here that holds your rear shock or coilover. And then you'll take a ball bearing press out the old bearing, and then, the old bushing, and then press in this bearing. And it was pretty straightforward. It only took me maybe an hour and some change to do. And this is like having never done it before. So now it's time for me to drive the car and see how it goes and see how it rides.